The first year of life is the most accelerated period of development in human existence. In 12 months, the baby goes from a completely dependent newborn who cannot even hold their own head up, to a child who walks, says their first words, and actively interacts with the world around them. This development follows a logical and progressive sequence, and there is a set of expected milestones for each phase. Knowing these milestones is not about comparing your baby to other children. It is about knowing what to expect, when to celebrate, and most importantly, when to seek medical guidance. During the first year of life, parents should closely follow their baby's development, because early identification of delays allows for interventions that make a real difference in the long run. In this video, you will learn the 5 most important developmental milestones of the first year of life and what each one means for the baby's overall development. If you want more content like this about baby development and behavior, subscribe to the channel. We publish every week. Now let's get into it. Number 1. Head and neck control by 4 months. Head control is the first major motor milestone in a baby's development and the foundation for every other motor milestone that comes after. Without head control, the baby cannot sit, cannot roll over, cannot crawl, and cannot walk. It is the starting point of the entire motor development chain. At birth, the baby has no control over their head. The neck muscles are not yet strong enough to support the weight of the head, which is proportionally much larger relative to the body than in adults. This is why parents always need to support a newborn's head when picking them up. This control develops gradually. Around 1 month, the baby can already turn their head from side to side when lying on their stomach. Around 2 months, they can briefly hold their head up when being held in a vertical position. By 4 months, control should be well established. The baby holds their head steadily when being held, when lying on their stomach, and no longer needs constant support. Tummy time is essential for developing head and neck control. It should be practiced daily from the first weeks of life, always with the baby awake and under supervision. It starts with short sessions of 2 to 3 minutes and gradually increases as the baby builds strength. What to watch for. If the baby is showing no head control around 3 to 4 months, or if the neck seems very stiff or very floppy, talk to the pediatrician. This may be a sign that motor development needs attention. Number 2. Social smile by 2 months. The social smile is one of the most anticipated milestones by parents and one of the most important from the standpoint of the baby's emotional and social development. Unlike the reflex smile, which appears in the first weeks of life and is involuntary, usually associated with gas or sleep, the social smile is an intentional response to human stimulation. It generally appears between 6 and 8 weeks of life. The baby looks at the caregiver's face, recognizes the human presence, and responds with a smile that involves not just the mouth but also the eyes. It is a clear communication. I recognize you, I respond to you, I am connecting with you. The social smile is an indicator that the baby's neurological development is progressing adequately. It marks the beginning of social reciprocity, the ability to interact intentionally with another human being, which is the foundation of all communication and language development that follows. To encourage the social smile to emerge, parents should make frequent eye contact with the baby, speak to them in a soft and responsive tone, and smile at them during interactions. The baby's brain is learning the language of social connection by observing and responding to the caregiver's face. What to watch for. If the baby does not show a social smile around 2 months of age or does not seem to respond to the human face with any sign of recognition, this should be communicated to the pediatrician. The absence of a social smile within the expected time frame is one of the early signs that specialists look for when screening for developmental differences. Number 3. Sitting without support by 9 months. Sitting without support is a motor milestone that represents an enormous leap in the baby's independence and opens up a whole range of possibilities for exploring the world that did not exist before. When the baby can sit stably on their own, the hands are free to explore objects. The view of the world changes completely, and interaction with the environment becomes much richer. This milestone develops progressively. Around 4 months, the baby can already sit with full support from a caregiver. Around 6 months, they can sit with minimal support, using their own arms as a prop. By 7 to 9 months, most babies can sit independently, without any support, and maintain that position for an extended period. To reach this point, the baby needs to have developed strength in the core, which are the central muscles of the body, as well as in the neck, shoulders, and back. This strength develops through tummy time and through the motor experiences accumulated in the previous months. This is why each motor milestone builds on the previous ones, and delays in early milestones can impact subsequent ones. Once the baby starts attempting to sit independently, it is common for them to fall to the sides in the first attempts. This is normal and part of the learning process. The surrounding environment should be safe, free from hard or sharp objects, so the baby can explore this new skill without risk of injury. What to watch for. If the baby shows no tendency to sit with support around 6 months or cannot sit independently around 9 months, talk to the pediatrician. These are milestones that should be closely monitored at well-child checkups. Number 4. Babbling and first vocalizations by 6 months. Babbling is the precursor to speech. It is how the baby begins to experiment with the sounds of language, to test the possibilities of their own voice, and to learn that verbal communication is an effective way of interacting with the world. The development of verbal communication begins long before the first words. In the first weeks, the baby already makes sounds other than crying, such as cooing and gurgling. Around 2 months, they begin producing vowel sounds, like ah and ooh. Around 4 months, babbling becomes more elaborate, with variations in tone and rhythm that increasingly resemble the melody of speech. By 6 months, the baby should be producing babbling that combines consonants and vowels, such as ba-ba-ba, ma-ma-ma, and da-da-da. This development is strongly influenced by the amount and quality of verbal interaction the baby receives. Babies who are frequently talked to, read to, sung to, and whose vocalizations are consistently responded to develop language faster than babies who spend long periods without verbal interaction. There is a concept called serve and return that describes exactly this dynamic. The baby makes a vocalization, the caregiver responds with a vocalization or facial expression, the baby responds again. Each cycle of this strengthens the neural connections responsible for language and communication. What to watch for. If the baby is not producing any type of babbling around 6 months, or if they were babbling and have stopped, this is a sign that should be communicated to the pediatrician immediately. Regression in verbal communication is an important warning sign. Number 5. First steps by 15 months. Walking independently is the most anticipated milestone of the first year of life, and also one of the most variable in terms of timing. Most babies take their first steps between 9 and 12 months, but it is completely normal for this to happen up to 15 months. Babies who start walking within this window, regardless of the exact moment, are within the normal range of development. The process that leads to independent walking is long and progressive. It begins with the baby pulling themselves up to stand while holding onto furniture, around 8 to 9 months. Then the baby starts cruising, walking sideways while holding onto furniture. Next, they begin releasing one hand from the support and taking first steps with an adult's help. Finally, they take their first independent steps, usually with a wide base and arms raised to maintain balance. Each of these stages is a milestone in itself. Parents do not need to wait for independent walking to celebrate the baby's motor development. Every step of this process represents a significant advance. To support walking development, it is important to let the baby explore the floor freely and safely, without skipping stages. Crawling, for example, is a very important phase that should not be skipped, because it develops the coordination between both sides of the body that is needed for walking. Baby walkers are not recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics because, in addition to increasing the risk of accidents, they can interfere with the natural development of walking. What to watch for. If the baby is showing no effort to pull to stand or to walk with support around 12 months, or is not walking independently around 15 months, this is a point that should be discussed with the pediatrician. The first year of life is the most intense developmental phase in human existence, and every milestone reached represents a new connection being established in the baby's brain. None of these milestones should be used to compare babies with each other, because variation between children is real and expected. What matters is the progression within the individual baby, and consistent monitoring with the pediatrician throughout the first year. Head control, social smile, sitting without support, babbling, and first steps. 5 milestones that build, one upon the other, the foundation of the baby's motor, social, and communicative development in the first year of life. The description of this video has a free guide with the developmental milestones of the baby's first year, what to expect at each stage, and when to seek medical guidance. Just click and download. In the next video, we cover why your baby won't sleep and everything parents need to know about infant sleep. See you then.